Welcome everyone. In this lecture, I am going to discuss about entropy and the concepts related to the entropy. And this discussion is from the book of Garg, Ghosh and Bansal. By introducing the concept of entropy, Clausius developed a general mathematical formulation of the second law and showed that only such processes can occur for which entropy does not decrease. So, we have already discussed the second law of thermodynamics in the previous lecture. In this lecture, the formulation of the second law will be discussed in the context of entropy. Boltzmann showed that entropy is a measure of disorder in molecular arrangement of a system, and as such it is an abstract concept. Since entropy characterizes the approach to equilibrium, it can be related to the probability of occurrence of a state. Thus, entropy helps us to relate the results of thermodynamics to those of statistical mechanics. And for this reason, it is said that thermodynamics became a powerful tool only after it divorced itself from the convertibility of heat into work and engaged to entropy. So basically, the concept of entropy is very important. Now we will focus on this specific topic. So what is entropy? To answer this question, let's consider a system that undergoes a reversible process from state 1 to state 2 along path A. I will show you the figure shortly, but let us assume that the cycle is completed along B, which is also reversible. Now let me show you the figure. So this is the figure. This is one, that is state 1 to state 2. So this is a path, that is the cycle is going on 1A2 and then it is being completed from 2 to 1 through the path B. So it is a cyclic process. It is going at first from this path, that is through the A, and then from 2 to 1 through the point B. And this is basically a reversible process. We know that a Carnot cycle is reversible. We have already discussed about the Carnot cycle, and any reversible cycle can be represented by a series of miniature Carnot cycles, which is shown in a figure. I will show you the figure. This is a figure. Now you see that this circular path, actually this is a cycle and this is a reversible cycle. Now inside the circle, what we have done, you see that a series of curves has been drawn. This is a curve, this is isotherm, and the steeper curve, that is this one, is the adiabatic curve. Here two types of curves are drawn, you can see it very clearly. For example, this one, this is isothermal and this steeper is adiabatic. This is isothermal, again adiabatic. In this way several curves are drawn. Now these curves are passing through the circle. So if you consider a particular rectangular path, for example, you see this one, this is, we can consider a small almost a rectangle. So in this series we can divide the circle in some series of rectangles. So all these we can consider that these are the Carnot cycle. So a cyclic process can be divided into a series of Carnot cycles. Now in our earlier lecture we have discussed that for a reversible cycle the algebraic sum of q by t, that is equal to 0. From that concept we can write that for each reversible cycle q1 by t1 minus q2 by t2, that is equal to 0, as it was shown earlier that sum of q by t is equal to 0. So we can write from that concept, that is closed integration of delta qr by t, and this closed integration through the path 1a to b1. 1a to b1 means that is 1a to b1, that is along this closed path, and this one is a reversible path. So in this case, the reversible integral that is equal to 0 from this concept, that is sum of q by t is equal to 0. Now we can divide the closed path along two paths, that is 1 to 2 delta qr by t via a plus 2 to 1 delta qr by t via b. The subscript r denotes a reversible cycle. Here there is a subscript r here, delta qr. So we have written r to denote the reversible cycle. Now let us refer to figure 7.1c, which depicts another reversible cycle. So let us look at the figure, this one. So this figure denotes a reversible cycle, that is 1a to b1. This cycle is reversible. 1a to b1, this cycle is a reversible one. So the initial process is along path A but is completed along the path C. For this cycle we can write, that is closed integration of 1a to c1 delta qr by t is equal to 0. So if we consider 1a to c1, that is this path 1a to c1, if we consider this closed path, then we can write that closed integration of 1a to c1 delta qr by t is equal to 0, and we can again divide the path along two paths, that is one is from via a 1a to delta qr by t via a, and another one is 2 to 1 delta qr by t via c. Now if we combine these two equations, that is 7.1 and 7.2, then we can write, that is 1 to 2 delta qr by t via b is equal to 1 to 2 delta qr by t via c. Again in the figure you can see that here actually they have considered total three paths, 1a to b1 and another path is 1a to c1. That is, when the state is coming from 2 to 1, it can go through the two paths. One is through the point B and another is through the point C. But combining these two equations, what we can show, that is delta qr by t via b, that is equal to delta qr by t via c. This result strongly suggests that the integral 1 to 2 delta qr by t is same between states 2 and 1, no matter what reversible path we choose. Actually we have shown in the last figure there are several reversible paths, but actually the value of the integration 1 to 2 delta qr by t, that does not depend on the paths. That is, for any two coordinate systems we can always move between any two points by an infinite number of infinitesimally small Carnot cycles, and whatever path we take we will get the same result. Mathematically we can say that is delta qr by t is an exact differential, and we can write it as delta qr by t, that is equal to ds. This is the rule of the exact differential, we know about it. This suggests that we can define a new quantity s, which is a function of state and is independent of the path followed. This new function of state is called entropy of the system. So here the quantity S is known as the entropy. Put into words, this equation states if we supply an infinitesimal amount of heat delta Q to a system reversibly at temperature T, the entropy of the system increases by delta Q by T. We have to note that we have defined entropy in terms of a reversible process connecting two states, that is state 1 and 2, and like volume and charge, entropy is also an extensive variable, and the entropy of the SI unit of the entropy will be joule per Kelvin, as ds is equal to delta Q by T, so the unit of S will be joule per Kelvin in SI unit. The change of entropy of a system as it undergoes a change of state is obtained by integrating equation 7.4. You see the equation 7.4, if you integrate it, then what you will get, that is difference of entropy in two states, that is S2 minus S1, that is equal to delta S, that is equal to 1 to 2 delta QR by T. So this equation enables us to determine changes in entropy along a reversible path in going from one state to another. This will also be the magnitude of entropy change for an irreversible process between these two states. So difference of the entropy, you see this line is very important. Here it has been written, this will also be the magnitude of entropy change for an irreversible process between these two states. Although we have defined entropy in terms of the reversible path, but the difference of entropy will be same although the processes are irreversible one. But this equation, you see this equation again, this equation tells us nothing about the absolute value of the entropy, because this is the difference of entropy. When no change of composition is involved, it is adequate to give values of entropy with respect to some arbitrarily chosen standard state. This in turn is chosen with respect to the state where entropy is zero. Thus, the entropy of a system in a given state relative to some arbitrary reference state is indeterminate to the extent of an additive constant. That means we can write, that is S2, that is equal to Sn plus n to 2 delta Qr by T. Here Sn denotes the entropy of the substance in some reference state n. This constant cannot be determined within the framework of the first and second laws of thermodynamics. In fact, this aspect is contained in the third law of thermodynamics. In the third law, it has been stated that is entropy of a substance becomes zero at absolute zero of temperature. So basically, the reference state is the entropy for the absolute zero. So in that case, we can say that Sn is equal to corresponds to the entropy of the state of absolute zero. So in that case, that we can measure the entropy of a substance which is the absolute value. Here S2 is the absolute value. So if we want to measure the absolute value of the entropy, then we have to define some reference state. So here Sn is the reference state. We may now conclude that to measure entropy in any state, we have to take the substance along in a reversible path to its standard state and compute the value of delta Qr by T along this path. So what we have to do, if we want to compute the entropy, we have to compute the value of delta Qr by T. But we have to keep in mind that in this case, what we are doing actually, we are measuring the change of entropy. Obviously, for a cyclic reversible process, there will be no net entropy change. Thus, we can write closed integration delta Q by T reversible is equal to 0. So, for a reversible cycle, closed integration of delta Q by T is equal to 0. Now, we will discuss the entropy in the context of the Carnot cycle. We have already discussed the Carnot cycle by drawing PV diagram and we have explained in earlier lectures. So this is the Carnot cycle in PV diagram. Now we will discuss the Carnot cycle step by step by considering the concept of entropy. So the first process in this cycle is the isothermal transfer of heat to the working substance from the hot reservoir. The gain in entropy during this process is given by delta S, that is equal to A to B delta Q by T, and that is a reversible process. So this is the change of entropy for the cycle AB. Since the temperature of the working substance remains constant you see that this one is T1. This remains constant. So this equation can be integrated to give, you see, this T is constant, so we can place T outside of the integration. So we can write in this way: delta S is equal to 1 by T1 A to B delta Q, that is equal to Q1 by T. Here Q1 is the heat absorbed by the system. This is shown as horizontal line 1 to 2 on TS diagram. You see, this one is the TS diagram. Here this axis is the entropy axis and this axis is the temperature axis. So what we have seen here, that is the change of entropy in this process, that is delta S, that is value of S, that is actually fixed. This value of this one is Q1 by T. Here temperature is constant and heat Q1 is the heat absorbed. So ultimately we can define the process by a straight line. That is here change of entropy, that is entropy change, and this one is the temperature. Here temperature is fixed and delta S can be measured in this way, that is value of Q1, that is heat absorbed by the system, Q1 divided by T. The second process in Carnot cycle is a reversible adiabatic expansion. Since no heat is exchanged in this process, so delta Q will be 0, and it readily follows from equation 7.4 that entropy remains constant in a adiabatic process. You see equation 7.4 again. In equation 7.4, delta QR by T, that is equal to ds. So if delta Q is equal to 0, ds is equal to 0, or S is equal to constant. So in the first process, value of entropy is given by the equation, that is Q1 by T, value of actually entropy change. So delta S is equal to Q1 by T. But in the second case, what happened, that is ds is equal to 0, so entropy remains constant in the reversible adiabatic process. So this step can be shown by this figure, and if this is the entropy axis, so you see that value of entropy is constant here. So for the process 2 to 3, and the value of entropy that is constant. Now let us discuss the third process. So third process is a reversible isothermal compression in which heat is transferred from the working substance to the cold reservoir. You see the PV diagram. CD is the third process. Here this is the Q2 amount of heat. So Q2 amount of heat is transferred from the working substance to the cold reservoir, and value of the temperature in this process is T2, and T2 is constant. So we can write delta S is equal to C2D delta T by T and reversible, and this T can be placed outside of the integral, and as temperature is constant, so we can write 1 by T2, but here we have written minus Q2. This one actually will be delta Q. So we have written minus Q2. The negative sign signifies that heat is rejected by the working substance during this process. So if we compare this equation with the previous one, you see that this one was Q1 by T with a positive sign, and this one is Q2 by T2 with a negative signs. This will be actually T1, Q1 by T1 with a positive symbol, and this one is Q2 by T2 with a negative symbol. And this equation indicates that the entropy of the working substance decreases during isothermal compression, as this is compression process, isothermal compression. So in this process entropy decreases. This is shown by the horizontal line 3 to 4. That means this 3 to 4 is the this isothermal compression process. Now in the, that is fourth step, the entropy of the working substance, equation 7 7.8 indicates that the entropy of the working substance decreases during isothermal compression. We have already shown this figure 3 to 4 through the horizontal line 3 to 4. It is important to note that for the final process 4 to 1, that is actually a reversible adiabatic compression. This process is the reversible adiabatic compression. So therefore it will also be an isentropic process, that is entropy will remain constant. Actually this process is just like the previous process, that is here, that is this line 2 to 3. In this case what happened, that is entropy was constant as delta Q was 0, that is entropy remains constant. And similarly this one was actually reversible adiabatic expansion, and the fourth process is the opposite one, that is reversible adiabatic compression. It is not expansion, it is compression, but as Q is equal to 0, so in this case again entropy will remain constant. Therefore, the decrease in entropy in the process 3 to 4 must exactly equal to the entropy increase in the process 1 to 2. We have observed that in the process 3 to 4 entropy decreases, and in the process 1 to 2 entropy increases. So those should be equal, that is S2 minus S1, that should be S3 minus S4. Now if we compare figures 7.2a and b, that means these two figures, actually both figures represent the Carnot cycle, but this is on the PV diagram and this figure is on the TS diagram. So if we compare the figures, so we will note that the curvilinear quadrilateral representing Carnot cycle on PV diagram becomes actually a rectangle on the TS diagram. And we recall that the ABCD area in the PV diagram that gave the useful work obtainable in one cycle. We have discussed that Carnot, if we represent Carnot cycle in the PV diagram, that rectangle actually give you the value of the useful work obtainable. But if we consider the TS diagram, then this is actually a rectangle. So in this case the area under the curve will define the heat diagram. That is actually this will represent the actual amount of heat energy converted into work in that cycle. Because actually what is the definition of entropy? That is equal to ds is equal to dq by t. So entropy, that is actually that the amount of heat energy that is being converted into work in a particular cycle. That is why PV diagram is called the work diagram and TS diagram is called the heat diagram. So area under the curve in the TS diagram, that gives us the amount of heat energy converted into work in that cycle. And the efficiency of a Carnot cycle, we know that eta is equal to Q1 minus Q2 by Q1. Now what is Q1 minus Q2? Q1 minus Q2, that is delta Q, is equal to T1 minus T2 into delta S, because dQ is equal to dt into S, and Q1 is equal to T1 into delta S. So if we put these values here, we will obtain eta is equal to 1 minus T2 by T1. So previously we have observed that is eta is equal to 1 minus Q2 by Q1. Now we have shown that eta is equal to 1 minus T2 by T1. Now we will discuss about reversible heat transfer. In most reversible heat transfer process, the temperature is not constant. Then increase in entropy can readily be calculated from the equation delta S is equal to T1 to T2 delta Q by T reversible. When temperature is not constant, you see we have given a limit for the temperature. So initial temperature is T1 and final temperature is T2. If we assume that heat capacity of the system remains constant over the temperature interval of interest and changes in phase are excluded during this process. So we can express delta Q in this way, that is mc into dt. M and c are constant, so they can be taken outside the integral, and inside the integral only dt will be there. So after differentiating we get mc ln T2 by T1. This is the expression for entropy change in the case of reversible heat transfer. Now we will discuss about Clausius inequality. So we have already discussed the change of entropy for a reversible processes. But a reversible process is a limiting case of a natural process. Therefore, to provide a criteria for the direction of natural change, we should generalize our earlier results for irreversible processes. The first step in this direction is to establish the Clausius inequality. Let us consider an irreversible cycle engine working between temperatures T1 and T2. If a reversible engine were operating between the same temperatures, we can say from the Carnot's theorem that efficiency for the irreversible engine will be less than efficiency for the reversible engine, that is eta irreversible less than eta reversible. Now from the expression of eta we can write, that is Q1 irreversible minus Q2 irreversible divided by Q1 irreversible less than Q1 reversible minus Q2 reversible divided by Q1 reversible. And after rearranging we can write Q2 irreversible divided by Q1 irreversible greater than Q2 reversible divided by Q1 reversible, but this is equal to, that is Q2 by Q1, we know we can write this as equal to T2 by T1. We have already shown that. So from this inequality we can again write, that is Q2 irreversible by T2 greater than Q1 irreversible by T1. So for an irreversible cycle engine we must have closed integration irreversible delta Q by 2 is equal to Q1 irreversible by T1 minus Q2 irreversible by T2. If we put this one in the left hand side, so we can write closed integration of delta Q by T is equal to Q1 irreversible by T1 minus Q2 irreversible by T2 less than 0. In other words, this inequality implies that the value of the cyclic integral closed integration of delta Q by T will be less than 0 for an irreversible process. If we make the engine more and more irreversible, the integral in equation 7.10 will progressively become smaller and smaller. Thus, for all irreversible heat engine cycles, we can write closed integration of delta Q by 2 less than 0. This is an important result. Now, for a reversible engine, we can write, that is closed integration reversible delta Q by T equal to 0. We have shown earlier. So combining these two equations, we can write in generally, that is closed integration delta Q by T less than equal to 0. This relation is the famous Clausius inequality, and note that equality holds only for the reversible process and less than is for the irreversible process. Now we will discuss about the entropy change in an irreversible process. Consider a system that undergoes the cycle shown in this figure. For the irreversible cycle 1A2B1, 1A2B1 made up of reversible processes A and B. So A and B are reversible process. So we can write closed integration of delta Q by T, that is equal to 1 to 2 delta QR by T via A plus 2 to 1 delta QR by T via B, that is equal to 0, considering two paths. Now consider the irreversible cycle 1A2C1 made up of reversible process A and irreversible process C. So C is an irreversible process. So the 1A2C1 is made up of the reversible process A and irreversible process C. This dotted line is the irreversible process through the path C. Now for this cycle, the Clausius inequality implies that closed integration of delta Q by T, that is equal to 1 to 2 delta QR by T via A plus 1 to 2 delta QR by T via C. And as we are considering an irreversible process, so what we have to write? We have to write less than 0, because this one is the irreversible cycle and we have considered via C path, so that is why that should be less than 0. Now if we combine these two equations, we can write, that is 1 to 2 delta Qi by T via C less than 1 to 2 delta Qr by T via B, because via A these two equations will be cancelled out from these two equations. So we can write this equation in this way, and as we have used via C, that is why we have used the index I to indicate the irreversible process. Here we have used R to indicate the reversible process. Since B is reversible and entropy is a function of state, we can write S1 minus S2 is equal to 1 to 2 delta QR by T via B, that is equal to 1 to 2 DSB is equal to 1 to 2 DSC. So what is the meaning? The first thing is that as the change of entropy depends on the 2 points, that is 2 states only, not on the path. So S1 minus S2, that is equal to, we can write, that is 1 to 2 delta QR by T via B. We are writing 1 to 2 DSB, that is through the B, that should be equal to 1 to 2 DSC through the path C. Now if we consider this equation and the previous equation, so using this equation and this equation, we can write, that is 1 to 2 DSC greater than delta Qi by T. Here that is delta Qi by T, and we have used DSC here right side. So 1 to 2 DSC greater than delta Qi by T. We have used two equations to write this one. So for the general case, we can write delta S, that is the change of entropy, greater than equal to delta Qi by T. We are writing this equation by generalizing this one. Or for a change from state 1 to 2, the difference of entropies is given by S2 minus S1 greater than equal to delta Q by T 1 to 2. As before, the equality and greater than sign holds for reversible and irreversible processes respectively. This is an important result and helps us in determining the direction in which a physical process evolves. In essence, it emphasizes the influence of irreversibility on the entropy of a system. It may be pointed out here that the results contained in these two equations hold irrespective of the fact that delta Q is equal to 0, less than 0 or greater than 0. If delta Q is negative, the entropy will tend to decrease as a result of heat transfer. However, the influence of irreversibility is still to increase the entropy of the system. That is why we say that entropy increases in all natural processes. And we will discuss, that is, how entropy will increase in all natural processes. But before that discussion, we are considering an isolated system. There is no thermal interaction with the surrounding, and in the Clausius inequality we have delta Q is equal to 0. So for this case, delta S, that should be greater than equal to 0 if we consider the Clausius inequality. You can see the Clausius inequality, we are putting delta Q is equal to 0. So delta S greater than equal to 0. That is, the entropy of an isolated system cannot decrease. For reversible changes in an isolated system, the entropy will remain constant, whereas for irreversible changes, the entropy will increase. Now we will discuss that the principle of increase of entropy. We are considering a process in which a quantity of heat delta Q flows from the surrounding at the temperature T surrounding to a particular system which is at the temperature T system. Let delta W be the work done by the system during the process. Then from the Clausius inequality we can write delta system greater than equal to delta Q by T system. Now from for the surrounding, delta Q is negative and we can write delta surrounding is equal to minus of delta Q by T surrounding. Why delta Q is negative? Because delta Q flows from the surrounding at the temperature T surrounding. That is, delta Q is coming out of the surrounding. That is why the negative sign here. So the net change of entropy of the universe is therefore can be written delta SU. U means universe. That is equal to delta system plus delta surrounding. Now what was delta system? That is greater than equal to this one, delta Q by T system. So we can write that is greater than equal to delta Q by T system minus delta Q by T surrounding. After taking delta Q common, inside the bracket there is 1 by T system minus 1 by T surrounding. Now T surrounding is greater than T system. So the quantity within the brackets is positive and we conclude that delta SU greater than equal to 0. If T system greater than T surrounding, the heat transfer will take place from the system to the surroundings and both delta Q and the quantity in the bracket will be negative, yielding the same result. So we may therefore conclude that for all possible processes that a system in a given surrounding can undergo, the increase in entropy is given by delta system plus delta surrounding, that is equal to delta SU greater than equal to 0. The equivalent greater than sign holds for an reversible and irreversible processes respectively. Since natural processes are irreversible, this equation implies that the entropy of the universe is increasing continuously. This result is known as the principle of increase of entropy. And the significance of equation 7.16, that means this equation, is that it dictates the unidirectionality or evolution of a process. Unidirectionality means as entropy is increasing in all natural processes. This allows us to make a quantitative general statement of the second law of thermodynamics as the entropy of the universe can never decrease. So this is actually the statement of the second law in the context of entropy. It applies to the cooling of a cup of coffee as also to all other unidirectional processes that occur in nature. So in all the processes, entropies are increasing. So thank you for listening this lecture.